Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 2022 live streams. I'm pretty excited about doing these. I hope you guys had a great break. If you did have a break, and if you didn't, well, it's been an interesting market, hasn't it? Let's get into the live streams. Let's start talking about sectors and rotations that are going on right now, because I think this is the key to really 2022. Understanding that this is the year of the trader. I believe pretty strongly that we're going to have quite a lot of volatility this year. We're going to have a lot of opportunity, but at the same time, we need to understand where the money flow is going. And as you look at today's run, you'll notice XLB materials is number one. Is that really noticeable? Well, I think a lot of it comes down to what's going on so far. Let's say year to date. Let's go into that just quickly here. Energy is now up 14%. 14% year to date. Jets, airplanes, can you believe it? We're even talking about this, up 4.6%. XLF up 5.95%. And that's so far, but we've still got some really heavy underperforming sectors. Things like the biotechnology sector, things like even the software sector here, the solar sector, real estate, that might be a bit questionable this year. These are some of the things that we'll be looking at. 1 year across the board, if we take a look at those sectors, big difference as well. Things like solar still down. And we know that all these hyper stocks, things that did well during 2020, got obliterated during 2021. But 2022 could be the year for a lot of these. So when you're looking at any chart, you've always got to say, okay, what has happened over the previous couple of months, the previous quarter? Have we started to see a change? It may be pickup. And sometimes you'll see certain patterns, like we pointed out here on Jets, where we're getting some kind of double bottom and a potential here for some recovery in the stock. Now, this doesn't mean that it's the best sector to be in. I mean, you guys know I hate airplane companies in general, but it does show you that there is always rotations occurring, and sometimes you can spot them in the technical analysis itself. But without further ado, let's get into the actual analysis of the markets. As per usual, guys, if you have questions, feel free to ask them throughout today's session. We'll go through as much as we can. It's been a medium kind of session. If you look here on the right-hand side, you'll notice that we've got things like Tesla moving up heavily today. Tesla had a slow day on the previous session. Now it's moving up. And if we scroll down, there are some sectors that aren't doing so well. Beam was up 10% yesterday, now down 7%. We scroll through the hyper stocks. Some are up, some are down. Things like SAE is still recovering here. Take Two, 5.76. Let's just quickly have a look here at Take Two just to show how much it really got hammered recently. It fell all the way back down here from having a very, very nice recovery, great movement up, hit that 194. This is the good thing about TA. You can see here on the support side, hit the resistance, and now it's come all the way back down to a pretty interesting level ahead of earnings. So we've got that 147 area. Good company, decent price, a price we haven't seen in quite some time. And this is across all of the gaming sector. A lot of these, you would think gaming companies would be doing well, but they haven't come back as strongly as we would generally expect. Mark Wilkins says natural gas UNG really took off. Yes, that was one that just quickly we'll go into here. United States Gas Fund, great accumulation base. Now, Mark, you spotted this one, and boy, oh boy, what a great one that we looked at. I think we looked at this in the private hangout, if I remember rightly. And yeah, amazing base, man. This is absolutely what you're looking for. You had increased volume across the board, so it continued to stay very, very nice. And then there's the breakout candle. And of course, 2 days later, look at what's happened here. 13.57% today, a massive gain on this particular one. I've got Durgesh coming in with a $2 donation. Thank you very much. Hi, Tom. Happy New Year. Can we please look at Barber? Yeah, we absolutely can. We're going to do that anyway today. But for sure, Barber is a very interesting one for 2022 as well, because a few of these Chinese tech stocks and a few of these Chinese stocks in general, maybe even sectors could be pointed out, are recovering. And they're doing a lot better than you would expect. So let's have a quick look here at Barber. Let's scroll down. One of the, well, possibly the most talked about hated stock of 2021. When let's bring it up and let's get that in. So we'll go Barber. Now, what does that look like? Let's see if the community's gone rusty or if you guys know what's happening. By the way, guys, if you can, make sure to smash that like button. It really does help us out. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us for the first session. We'll be doing these, of course, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the closes as per our normal schedule. And we'll be doing that now for the next upcoming weeks. So that'll be fantastic. So Baba, anyone know what this looks like? Let's see if you guys know. While we wait for the community to comment on it, let's talk about just quickly the markets here. So great recoveries across the board. As we know, US 500 continues to kind of climb up. It was up a little bit more in the pre-market onto the market open, and it's come back down, and we'll take a look at those very, very soon. But still grinding higher, still looks okay. We may have one day of weakness coming up, but in general, bullishness across the board because of where the support was found. So here we've got some comments coming in. We've got Victor saying double bottom. We've got John Moore saying double bump. Okay. And then Ray Lim, bottom double, no DB. Yeah. So this is pretty much a double bottom, or at least some form of like a base in general. It's broken through. What we like to do is spot a double bottom on heaps of different time frames. Let's have a look at the interaction. What has maybe a higher time frame told us about this double bottom? Is there more information there? Remember, it's not just saying, oh, there's a pattern. Patterns are a cheap, easy way out. And that's something that a beginner technical analyst will look at, and they'll see a pattern and they'll say head and shoulders or channel or double bottom or ascending channel or whatever you want to do. That's cool, but what about the interaction with that zone? What is the actual left-hand side, the price action telling us about the zone? Is there something extra, a clue that can tell us it's a stronger double bottom or a weaker double bottom? And this is the clue here. Long leg dojis. And we know that long leg dojis are indecision candles. So guys, they are literally happening around here. We've basically got indecision, 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 decision made. And that's starting to point to this idea that, yes, it looks like Baba has actually put a floor in the price, and that this may be the end of it actually failing. Now, there are other things of recovery, but this would be the first stage. We've had the base, we've got the indecision, we've got the decision made, we've got the double bottom. The next one becomes the weekly 20 moving average. Once we clear that, that's the second recovery phase. And you would have to think that we're in a pretty significant pullback in terms of this is where the market's actually going to turn around for Baba this year. And I do think some of these Chinese stocks are going to look a lot better when it comes to, I guess, the next 6 to 12 months of investment. Contrary to people's belief, a lot of the problems are probably out of the way. So thank you very much, Durgesh. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Baba right now. It's not too bad coming into the start. Let's now quickly look at the US 500, and we'll just quickly look at the trend line here. If you didn't have this trend line on, I'm not sure if you've been watching the channel the last 12 months, but yeah, look, the trend line did get reached. It hit the 20 moving average, and then of course it's bounced straight off that. And if we have a look with the monthly pivots, and if you ever want to add the monthly pivots, guys, just type in pivot, and then you'll go scroll down. This point here is what you want, and then you'll just want to select just the monthlies. Don't put all the other ones on. And I would suggest usually using the monthly pivots mostly on the S&P 500 and use the SPX or SPY code so you get the real market action. So in the previous video, we talked about this being the resistance area. Basically, previous resistance around this 470, 472 is going to happen, most likely. It's occurred today. You can see a little bit of weakness. For day traders, it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to get a close. It's probably going to close red or close around this little area here. Once we get this close in, and especially if it does this, we've got the high. Let me just quickly make this a little bit smaller. With the high, we've got the low, with the open and the close. Day traders are just looking for it up here. Why is it stopped here? And that's been the high of the day. You would think something to do with this previous one over here. If you're looking for further bullish run through in the next session, opens up, moves through. Once it gets past that, next stop, 480. Stop after that, top of the trend line. That's what we're looking for here in the January period. So this is resistance. This is where we kind of expected for some problems to possibly occur here on the SPY. We got the run through into it, which is great. And now we look for the next daily movement. So we basically look for that next kind of movement up or movement down. Darren Jones, $10. Hi, Tom. Happy New Year. Thank you very much, Darren. Always appreciate it, man. I feel like I see a reverse head and shoulders forming on IWM one day. The left starts at 226 on December 28th, and the right side is yet to rally. What is your opinion? We'll check out IWM in just a second here. And then Hot Potato Trader says Evergrande is risky. Yeah, but you are obviously looking at different stocks. You probably don't want to be in the retail, the residential sector, maybe in China, that's for sure. That's going to be one of those big problems. So SPY, there it is. It's kind of hovering around this zone. We look for a breach of the top to get that follow through for day traders in the next session. And for the close, we kind of expect it to close exactly where it is now. Got 18 minutes. We'll find out what's happening. Let's quickly look here at the Nasdaq. Actually, we'll go back to the SPY there. Leave that one there, and we'll go over here to the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq's stopped at the 20 and the 50 moving average. So you'll notice both of those acting a little bit dynamic resistance. This has happened before during a rally. Let's think about last time. Is it like deja vu? Deja vu, guys. That's possibly what we're looking at here. Trend line bounces up, hits the 2050. Does that look the same? Trend line bounces up, hits the 2050, sells off. Then we get the recovery. 2050 sells off. Where would be a logical conclusion? Possibly in here. And then boom, let's hope back up. So this is the lightning bolt that happened last time. That's where we had to go bullish. Remember, we did hope that this would go down to 14,000 last time. It didn't quite do it. And then it created that lightning bolt. That's the lightning bolt we always talk about, guys. The change of trend, the trough, the peak, the higher trough, the higher peak, got through the moving average, and that was it. So here, a very plausible scenario through the 16,000 at the same time, and then the rally into the top, maybe that 16.6. So the Nasdaq is also selling off here a little bit, creating like a little bit of a doji. It's similar to the S&P. We either continue, and day traders look to this one, and then they just basically buy it back up into these highs. Or in the next session, if we sell off, we look for demand to come back in through this resistance into support. These are very, very plausible scenarios, regardless of the news that's coming out. And there is a lot of news. What do you guys think? Do you agree with this concept? Do you think the market will pull back a little bit here, take a small breather, and then move up? Maybe create something like the lightning bolt? Let's see. There's a lot of opportunity in a ton of stocks as well, guys. So let's check IWM. Gary saying, he says, get out of IWM. It will give you clinical depression. So, of course, the big one there is that this thing has done nothing for a very long time. And yes, if you're stuck in an index that goes up and down and up and down and up and down and doesn't really have any strong movement, what does this become? It becomes more of a trader's index than necessarily. This is actually what could be happening for 2022. This is the type of movement that we're actually most likely going to start to see occur throughout this year. So S&P 500, Nasdaq may stop their massive ascendings and start to become a little bit choppy. And a lot of people look at this market and they think, oh, this is horrible. And it is, unless you realize that there's trading opportunity. So we got the question about the inverse head and shoulders. Basically, the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and there's the neckline. Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't really matter how you want to look at it. If you look at it as an inverse head and shoulders, then what you're doing is you're taking the distance from the head to the neckline, which is 226, and then you're saying that's the extrapolation. And of course, does it proof in the market? The answer is absolutely it does. And whenever you have a market pattern that's proofing to another resistance, it means that it's well thought out and fairly likely that this is a thing should we get through 226. And I think that for a lot of traders, even if you hate IWM so much and you just go, I'm never trading that thing, at 226, if you get a 226.50 plus break in 2022, you probably should be coming in and having a look at it with your system, because this participation from here to here, should it occur, is going to be highly likely to be statistically successful, just due to the pattern recognition, due to the fact that you're going to be above all moving averages there, the 200, the 50, the 20, all of these are going to be so much more positive. So guys, this is the type of thing that we look for in the markets. Like if we get a proofing pattern with a great base, with a super solid resistance, just like last time, although it was a false break, it moved heavily in just a few sessions. And that's the type of thing that you're looking at this 226. So IWM doesn't usually make its own patterns. It usually goes along the lines of look for the SPX or the S&P 500 breaking out. And at the same time, if the IWM is breaking out, there could be just more opportunity here. But the S&P 500 will ultimately be the one that dictates, in general, the moves on these. You are correct, though, Darren, and well done for that. Neil says, bro, what do you think about Pinterest? I'm liking the way it's shaping up. Well, let's look at Tesla first. Then we'll go through Jets. We'll look at Boeing. We'll look at a whole bunch of stocks. We've got 12 minutes, so let's smash through a whole bunch of stocks here, guys. We'll do a bit of rapid fire. I know you always enjoy that. There's plenty of stocks to go through. Remember, plenty of days for us to go through them as well. So we'll be doing live streams, as I said, Monday to Thursday for anyone that's joining us. And thanks so much also to the 440 people that have been joining us for the first day. I know it's midweek, so it's a little bit different. Tesla closing right on resistance. This is exactly the area we expected it to get to, around this 1110. So this 1110, we hoped it would get here. Now, again, we look for a breach of that level up to a 1200. And I can tell you that, yeah, Tesla looks pretty good. By the way, if you do have an ordered Tesla, make sure you get the Ryzen processor, guys. That old Atom one is an abomination. It's an abomination, guys. You need the Ryzen processor, I'm telling you. Anyone got Tesla here with the Atom? Hopefully you'll be able to upgrade that. And if you can upgrade that, that'd be pretty cool for Tesla holders, because if you have a Tesla and you have an old processor and you can just upgrade the chip, that would be fantastic. So yeah, Tesla into resistance at the close. Let's smash through a few of these. So we'll do Pinterest. I haven't looked at actually pins for a little while. So after it had the takeover and then got smashed back down. So that's where PayPal came in and said, hey, we're going to buy it. And the next day they were like, no, we're not. That was pretty random, actually, when you think about it. It's going down here. You would almost think that this is some form of descending kind of channel. The way I would look at it is the 20 moving average is obviously slamming it. It's recovering similar to other hyper stocks. It has hit a resistance. It's got a long leg doji on it on the daily currently being formed. And you'd be looking for it to breach that zone. That would be the first stage of recovery. So basically, we've got the high, got the low, got the indecision, previous supports, becoming resistance, closure above the 20, and the long leg doji should be your first signal of some movement round. Let's continue to just smash through as many of these as we can. I know you guys like a lot of these. Square, still pretty low here. Is it showing recovery yet? Not really. So Square still stuck in the doldrums. We'll have a look at Apple. Apple stuck in the middle of the channel, as you can see here, guys. Amazon's come okay. It's like improved, but it's still very tough to pull out much TA from here. I'm sure it'll do okay in 2022, but at this stage, we don't have a huge movement. It just kind of looks just like the market. So bullish hammer, follow through, bit of a sell-off. It almost looks like the Nasdaq at this stage, or the S&P 500. Enphase, another one that's gotten belted down. This is similar to all of the TAN or the solar index. This is actually right on support. So this is a huge rally, almost like a typical kind of blow-off style, and then it's just gotten completely destroyed all the way back down to support. This is a great zone to be looking at the start of this year. You know there's a lot of potential here. I mean, think about how much this has just dropped. From here to the top is 89%, guys. So since November 4th, in phase lost a huge portion. I mean, backwards, that's literally a percentage of around 50% down. So you can see support. We'll be continuing to watch that throughout the live streams. It's going to be very interesting. ARK-K, we'll cover that in today's video. Hit the resistance and then sold off. Again, hypers got smashed. We don't have the recovery on ARK-K just yet. We need to get through this zone here. ARK-G, similar. We're still trying to find the base. We do believe in these in 2022. But just because you believe in something doesn't mean the TA is with you yet. We're at interesting levels. That's where we're at. All the same for all of these. TDOC is similar, just continuously support, becoming resistance. Barber, we've talked about. Twilio, we've talked about. Oh, no, we haven't talked about Twilio yet. Twilio is very similar, just completely down. NVIDIA on kind of a role reversal. Again, long leg doji. NVIDIA traders, you'll like tomorrow, especially with this close. This close is showing us the indecision. Now you can really line up a bit of an idea of potential rally, should we see it in the next session, or weakness just kind of turns us back down. So high, low, you guys know what it is, right at the correct area. We've had this line 280 here for a little while. So this is good to see. At least it gives us some clarity. Roku just on support, trying to hold it. Etsy, I think that one's probably done for now. We liked Etsy last year into that run. Remember, the buy the rumor, or that idea of buying the October into November consumer discretionary play, is very seasonal. And I would highly suggest that if you're not aware of it, go check that one out, because it's quite a seasonal quality trade across many consumer discretionary stocks. DKNG, I saw Scott here this morning. He's our resident DKNG fan. It hasn't shown recovery yet, Scott, unfortunately, but we are at a interesting point, and it's a lot cheaper than it was. So this is the DKNG. Got PayPal coming in here, and we'll check that out. And Gary says, Tom, can you teach us ratios, how to read them and what they mean? Example, NDX, SPX, SPX, NDX, etc. Yeah, well, I mean, we've done ratios a little bit, haven't we, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we'll do crypto straight after the market closes here. So we'll be doing ratios throughout the next couple of live sessions. Why not? It's pretty important here. So let's continue down, and then we'll go through some more. Airbnb, actually showing some recovery here. Bullish hammer looks similar to the market, so at least this one here is recovering quite well. And boy, oh boy, wow, we've got a massive donation coming in here from Scott. Let's have a look what he has to say, guys. Thank you very much, Scott. $50. Can we give him some claps in the chat? Thank you very much, sir. Let's start off this year right. DKS is an inverse head and shoulders. NCLH is an ascending triangle, and LLY bouncing off its trend line. I see you're still shorting DKNG. Rude. So in return, I'd also like for you to talk about space. Oh my goodness, space. I hate that stock. Now look, DKNG is getting close. You would think this is the zone. So Scott, as per our discussion last year, where I decided to short DKNG and buy Beam, which by the way, technically Beam has held up. Remember this. Then yes, I would probably remove my short now on DKNG. I think this is very close to where we find the accumulation base. We'll check out everything else. Thank you so much though, man. Appreciate your donation there. Hopefully a few people have given you some claps for that one. So Airbnb, nice movement. If you're looking at Airbnb, you're probably looking at around this level here, 175. I think that's a bit of a trigger point for it. Previous resistance, huge rally, resistance again, potential for that to be the base, and then start the participation. So we'll be watching that one quite closely. And let's scroll down to Boeing, because we're getting a lot of questions about this. Yeah, this is similar to Jets. I mean, if you look at Boeing, scary earnings, guys, 14 days. That's the only problem. But if you look at it, we've got a double bottom, support, resistance. We've thought this has recovered once before. Remember in 2021, it actually broke the trend line up right here and then failed to get through the second resistance. So a lot of people would have scaled a portion in there. Remember, just like 2021, the year's word is scaling, scaling, scaling. So if you don't know what scaling is, I would suggest you consider definitely subscribing to the channel and coming to the live streams, because you need to be able to scale your positions. So it's the number one mistake. And I might actually ask Shogun, if you're out there, message me in Discord if I can share your story with the community, man, because you shared it in Discord, but you had some really great comments there about some of the successes you had and some of the weaknesses. And I think people would really benefit from your insights there. So just message me if you're there, Shogun. I might message you after, and we'll see whether we can get your story out there, because it does help people. Boeing, really nice consolidation, double bottom, long leg doji down here, decision made, bounced up, moving averages 2050. You can see the consolidation, and this is the same as Jets. So if we check out Jets here, which is, of course, the index, you'll notice first stage recovery is in, double bottom, support, 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 support everywhere, resistance, and holding above. So this is the type of recovery position that you are looking for when it comes to sectors. And you wouldn't think that I would like this, but it's certainly looking quite nice. Trio says, Tom, I was diagnosed with IWM, otherwise known as clinical depression. It's not that bad, guys. Not that bad. It's pretty bad, but it's not that bad. So that's what we're talking about with Jets. We'll answer Scott's questions here just before the close happens. So let's just quickly check out LLY. Yeah, nice trend line, man. So trend line continues to hold here for LLY. Support, 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 support. And then we have it happening again. Now, what you're usually looking for here is, well, firstly, you want the support to hold, but you also need it to be making usually new highs when it comes down. This wasn't ideal when it came down this way, because you had no new peak. This time you do have a marginal new peak, and you're looking for a little turnaround here. So very good. Thank you very much for sharing this one, Scott, with the community. It is certainly a very solid trend line and a good level. So this is LLY on the trend line. Hopefully it can bounce there. You're looking for smaller time frame turnaround. That would be a big one. And NCLH, Norwegian Cruise Liners. So another one of these recovery positions. Similar to Jets, you're looking at a recovery here. You're looking at a nice trend line. And then supports becoming resistance. And you're looking for a breach of this level. So around that 22.82. Another very nice one. You are correct, though. It's an ascending. And it's good to see you spotting the correct types of patterns. Just remember, with ascendings, they can go either way. And actually, they can be traded either way. So sometimes the weakness, because it's starting to, it really needs to break in the next kind of 24 hours to 48 hours. Sometimes the weakness play here, where it goes underneath the trend line, is actually the stronger, faster trade. And the same goes for the other way that you look at the ascendings or descendings. Rob Lee, 199 to Nintendo Cup and Handle. Oh, that's a stock we haven't looked at in a while. And John B says, high jet fuel will ground jets. I don't think it'll ground them. I think the big thing here is, are we going to see opening international borders, easier quarantine, those types of things? That's going to be the big one. And also, what's everybody's ability to or want to go overseas and travel? Remember, the stock market will just move based on those types of things. It's going to move on a forward projection. So if we start to see, I guess you would say, easier movement, which I believe we will in 2022, then that's going to be quite strong there. 801, we've closed on the markets, seeing some rally here near the close here. So basically, it's gone from the red side to the green side. Let's have a look at the SPY. Check out the daily. That's actually the real candle. There it is, guys. It's literally the long leg doji. The low, the high, the indecision at the peak. So exactly what we expected. Next session, great news is we get incredibly defined zones. So we get incredibly defined zones for our closures, which will give us a significant couple of days of trade, especially once we see a closure either way. We expect the next day to be a follow-through day. And that's why closures can be key, because when we recognize the long leg doji, we then get a closure and a decision made either day. It makes the next day actually a very easy statistical trade as well, especially to the bull side. If you bull closed above, where do you expect it to go in the next couple of trading sessions? Right into the resistance, if not a new peak. So it's going to be very, very nice here, I think, in the next couple of days in terms of that candle. And for a lot of people, that candle means nothing. But for you guys, it should mean a little bit more than that. Indecision right there. Let's check out Nintendo very soon. Donkin Dave, good to have you here. Tom, happy new year. Been a while. Yeah, absolutely. We've got Kevin, we've got Monica, we've got J Nibble, Gary, every Ginny. Great to see so many people here. Mark, of course. Ford F, consolidation after consolidation. Do you like this, Tom? I don't like Ford, but I'm not a big fan of motor companies in general, as you would know. This particular stock is going up heavily based on, I think, just the electric vehicles, and they've got a great car. Don't get me wrong. I looked it up. So the Ford Lightning truck thing, it's pretty cool. I agree, but it's trading on a multiple based on that factor. And I think that's the issue with it. It's not like, it's only a small portion of their business. Now, if we think about it, what does Ford sell? They sell a lot of non-electric vehicles, but they're running up based on the electric vehicle sales. Possibly it holds at the moment. You are absolutely correct. We've got consolidation, breach. And if we're just looking at it from a TA perspective, you're in a massive channel. Breach of the top, look for a rally. Breach of the below, look for a decline. I'm not sure if it's an investment, but definitely there is high probabilities that good TA could be here, which will be good. Scott says F looks shortable. Hey, it certainly could look shortable if we get through these lows. For everyone that likes the crypto, we've got 500 people here. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll do crypto in just a second. The market has closed, and in general, it closed where we thought it would, which is, consistent. Tesla closed right on that resistance. The Sp500 and Nasdaq closed right exactly where you would expect them to, into the resistance with indecision. And then we have also the metals, things like gold, going up close to the 1830. Oh, I'm going to be excited if this thing actually gets through here. 1830 gold. Come on now. Just breach past. Just close above here. That's all we ask for you, yeah? That's all we ask. US oil continues to rally here as we expect it to go to 85. And then 85 should be a resistance area. And at this point, if we breach, guess what, guys? Could be going to the 90s. So is that going to be negative towards jets and those other things? Well, probably. In some ways it could be. But I think the jets play is more than the current price of oil. It's more the recovery now that we're actually seeing economies coming back up. Can we check silver? We can click on silver. Similar to gold, really. This is the level that we've got a problem with here. It's behind. So you need the gold breakout to occur, and silver will come with it. So if you see gold go through 1830, silver should go through 2340. Once it gets through 2340, trough, peak, high trough, high peak, breach, movement up. Let's do Nintendo. I haven't looked at this stock for quite a few years. I remember when it was about 15 bucks. It's trading at 58.40, much cheaper than it was, which is surprising, really, considering I think that the Switch, which is its main console, has just overtaken the Wii as the most sold Nintendo console ever. So it's right back down. And someone said, is it a cup and handle? So basically a cup and handle, for anyone that doesn't know, the idea is that you have basically a basing formation. So it looks like this, and then that's your handle. So if you were drinking out of a really ugly cup, then yeah, it could be. Inverse head and shoulders down here, I would say that's completed already. We've then come back down to the neckline, so the resistances, which now becoming support. It could be a pretty good one. And I'm just not sure how they're going to grow their revenue without continuing to expand their brand out. But I think they're back. Nintendo's doing very well. Like even my nieces and nephews, they're all in on the Switch. They love that thing. So yeah, it's back in the minds of many. Weekly is much more affordable than it was. I think it was a rip-off up here when it was at that $80. But you do need to be careful with this company because I treat it as not very capitalistic, this company. It tends to do what it feels like doing to protect its brand over the long term. It doesn't tend to, I mean, you'll see here the ramp of the stock and the huge decline. It doesn't tend to be as good at maybe making short-term gains out of its IPs. So we've got resistance, support, I think a pretty good level. And you are correct there. So thank you very much. DKS. We've got for Scott as well. Inverse head and shoulders. Check it out. You are correct, Scott. Yes. Well done. Another good one. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Great as well, because if you got the breach, look at this. Wick rejection, long leg doji, high, low, similar to the market. Good spot, man. I'm going to add that actually into the watch list here. That's really good. Wonder if it comes off the base here. It does. Wow. Very nice. Yeah, I like that a lot. And this has acted technically in the past because I remember we got the breakout here on it. Yeah, I like that. Not bad. Good spot, man. Good spot. So let's get into the crypto here quickly. The markets in general, as you can see, a lot of opportunity. Just scroll through stocks, guys, and just look at some of these bases. Got great levels here on Facebook as well, or Metaverse, or whatever it's called. Resistances that will come up here eventually on this. Right around that zone. That's going to be good. Haven't looked at Chewy in a while. It's continued to go down, it looks like. Johnson & Johnson took ages to get through. Eventually did run up. Didn't run up that heavily, but the healthcare sector did do better. GME, AMC, I got asked a question whether we can do these still. Look, these guys, it's just kind of dying slowly. It'll have rallies. There'll be opportunities. It's on support at this stage around this 20. Be careful on these stocks, guys. Eventually they will decline, as we expected. The meme stocks cannot stay strong forever. Bitcoin, good news. Fantastic closure here coming up. Great breakout of the 43. We have to expect 46 now in the rally. You would think that's where Bitcoin's going to. Guys, where do you think Bitcoin's going to? Community, let me know. Gary says, let's leave GME and AMC in 2021. Dead memes. Well, still holding up amazingly. I never expected them to hold up to this area. I really didn't expect them to hold up to this area. So where do you think Bitcoin's going next? Let us know your predictions over the next month. I'm interested to know what the chat thinks. We've got 525 people. What are you guys thinking? Let me know. Let me know. I'll give you my idea as well. So we've got Andy Pandy saying 46K this week easy. Yeah, I think 46K is quite achievable, especially after today's move. Let's think about the price action here. Little bit of a sell-off, followed by a rally, but with a wick rejection, followed by a closure above the 43K. Fantastic. And then we should get that run to 46. Think about the accumulation base here as well. It kind of looks, to a lot of people, it probably looks like a Wyckoff event. And it does. I mean, effectively, that is Wyckoff in many ways. And Wyckoff is not really, you don't have to think about it so much as exactly what the theoretical is. It's just more, can we find a stop hunt? And that's the stop hunt that I like to look for. That's why I use Wyckoff. I always use it just to find a stop hunt, recognize there was something there that really created a liquidity change, probably took out a lot of stop losses that were placed around that 40,000 area. It eliminated all of those. You can see it in the trading volume with the big volume change. And then they bought straight back up. They've pushed through 43, which is the big news for it. And now we move towards 46. So I think Bitcoin is looking really great here for the next couple of days. Let's hope it can hold through. Ethereum is very similar. 3250, beautiful accumulation, resistance breakout. 36, the next stop for Ethereum, you would think. Similar to the Bitcoin, they are almost identical looking charts. We also got some nice breakouts occurring here on some of the other ones. A few of you have been messaging me about Polkadot. Yes, I agree. Polkadot's starting to look much, much better. And if you actually look at it on a daily, it could be really big in terms of its ramp. So if the crypto space does improve, let's just have a look here at Polkadot and consider what this is on a chart. So it's had massive ramps in the past. It's also had some massive crashes, like big, big, big crashes. But this is just the beginning of a base formation that could go through to 3150. And then if we get through there, guess what, guys? We could be looking at a really nice rally back into those 40s, those 44s. I mean, next stop would be $40 after breaching through here at 3150. So some big percentages. Let's just put that in perspective. From here to $40 is 44.81%. And that might not get everyone excited, but that's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Dot breaches downtrend from 10th of November. Yes. So the downtrend you're talking about, I guess, is you've probably drawn it through these somehow. Not sure exactly how you've drawn it. For me, it's really just more about that initial base on the smaller time frame. We look at it on the bigger picture, and it does start to look a lot nicer. Things like Matic as well, still kind of holding up that trend line. The overall trend line still holding. It's been quite a strong coin in comparison. Let's have a look at some other coins. Link, one that people have been in the last, I guess, 2 weeks. Link has been improving. This has been bucking the trend of the rest of the market. Probably expect it to slow down a little bit as the rest of the market picks up from the cheaper price. But there's the base. You can see base formation, resistance, long leg doji, and we get a lot of buying opportunity right there around 23.20. And now current price is 26.75. So TA does work, but you still need Bitcoin, crypto in general to find that accumulation. Otherwise, you have a really big problem there. Darren Jones, $10. Tom, I'm not selling my AMC, and I think BTC will retest 46K for sure. I don't blame you, Darren. If you're in AMC and you hold it and you believe in it, and it's $20, then there could be some nice rallies off that level. But as you know, it's still a risk. So AMC, I was at the cinemas the other day. Now, I don't know if America's the same. And ultimately, this matters. It's pretty sad, guys. Like, I was at the cinemas. It was, admittedly, I was in the kind of premium one, but it was really dead. Like, I mean, really dead. It's maybe 6 people. Capacity was maybe 20, 40, something like that. That's pretty bad. Usually it was stacked whenever we went. So in the past, so cinemas are just not making a recovery. And this dual listing thing where you can go and get it on the streaming service, it doesn't work out for them. Thank you very much as always, Darren. Gordon says here, personally don't care about dot price. Been buying since listing, and 80% on my dot is in auctions. Okay, cool. So, but you do like dot, it sounds like, Gordon. Gary says free popcorn for hodling AMC. So in America, it's just like 10 people in the cinema and they're all AMC holders eating popcorn. Yeah. Cinemas are a dying business. I think DTC is the move, says Gary. And theaters have been performing pretty well outside of lockdown cities. Yeah, pretty well. Pretty well. I hope it goes back. I like cinemas. They're cool. And Disney should just buy AMC. I'm not sure if they can be bothered with it. But yeah, it'd be interesting. All right, we'll send through some of the things that you guys want us to have a look at. Let's have a look at some of your best TA opportunities for 2022. We do have a whole bunch of stuff coming in tomorrow where we'll go through some of our concepts for 2022, what we're looking at, why we're looking at them. So make sure to join us for the live stream on Thursday close, because the last half an hour will literally be about our thought process into 2022 and some of the things that we believe may outperform the market this year and some of the reasons why that may occur. We had a question coming in here about TLT. So TLT, we've got the support here for the bonds. These are the 20-year Treasury bond. The reason why it's down is, of course, yields are rising. And if you have yields rising, generally speaking, the bond will go down. And that's what's occurred here. So yields rising, that's why the bonds are down here. Can you check Amazon? We've had a look at that before. And Trio says, can you have a look at Net? Yeah, absolutely. You guys would know I love cybersecurity. I think Net's still expensive. It's had a mass rally, which was ridiculous. That was so stupid. And then it's come back down. I mean, it was glorious, but so stupid, guys. Too expensive. Probably a fair price here for Net, even though it's high multiple still for the stock. Pricing that I'm looking at, I would like to see it come back down to about $90. And around here would be interesting. But yeah, it hasn't really done enough for us yet in terms of recovery. Let's have a look at the 2-hour. Small base formation. If you like Net enough, you might say, okay, there's my base, there's my breach. I'm going to start scaling into the position around here. But I also look at one of the leaders in the industry, which is something like Crowd. And if you have a look at CrowdStrike, it's not, again, showing us recovery just yet. CrowdStrike trading, by the way, at 2020 prices. These are quality positions. Like this is what you're looking for in terms of holding potential. Like some of these cybersecurity companies are going to do incredibly well for the next decades, because as long as they can hold up with the technology, this is where the big problems are. We all went on the cloud. The cloud brings, of course, security threats. And that's why these have been such good trades through up until the end of 2021. 20 moving average here, big deal for Crowd. And I would still like to see it through 212. 212 plus breakout is going to be a big thing. And I think that's where a lot of people in the industry or a lot of traders are going to get back into this stock around this area here. Hot Potato Trader says bug ETF for cybersecurity. Yeah, well, having an ETF that trades all of the cybersecurities together is quite good. So this is just a basket of them and not a bad concept. When you have a good concept, then you can use something like this to get into it. And actually, if you'd done that, you would have done better than Crowd, etc. Because the general cybersecurity has been improving. If you take a look at that, though, it looks a bit scary, doesn't it? I mean, that's a head and shoulders to the downside. There's your neckline. So it's right on that neckline at this stage. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. They are heavily priced, but not a bad concept. Too late to buy copper, Mark says. In general, yes. I think iron ore has been the strong play, Mark, in the last couple of weeks. Things like BHP, we really reported on this quite heavily into last year, and it's been very, very nice. Incredible. I do love my iron ore. Remember, I'm Australian. We have red sand here, guys, with the iron ore running through our veins. So if there's one thing we know, it's iron ore. And when iron ore goes, I'm always loving it. So yeah, no, it was good to see that. Gary Sony says, "Are we waiting for Nvidia to crack the 293?" Look at the daily long leg doji there, Gary. Just looking for it to get above that move, and then pretty much, hopefully, then we get continuation on the rally. Scott Morgan says, "Tom, your opinion, which FANG name will outperform in 2022?" Ooh. Which one will outperform? Last year I would have said Google. What do you guys think? This is a good question for the chat as well. Which FANG will outperform? Will it be Apple? Will it be Amazon? Netflix, unlikely. Or the Facebook, the metaverse? Apple is usually a safe bet, but Apple could only outperform if it opens up a new product and actually announces it. Where's Google at? Let me have a look here. I don't really even like the FANG this year. I feel like the FANG is expensive. That's a really good question. I haven't really thought about it because I do hold it, but mostly I hold it through the Nasdaq. Yeah, I don't know which one will outperform. I guess Apple, but only off announcements. Let's see what everyone else thinks. I need it to be Amazon, says Liviku. Yep, absolutely. Metaverse from a few people. Amazon, Facebook is dead. Amazon. I would agree with Amazon because of its underperformance, but the problem with it is just going to be, do we have too many people that have purchased too much stuff and a slowdown in consumer discretionary? Google, Apple, and Amazon. Google, Nvidia. See, a lot of people are split here. There's no one that says any one in particular. Tesla over FANG, very possible. Isn't Amazon the worst performing FANG? Easily. Shocking performing FANG. David Taylor says, thoughts on BHP, Tom? Welcome back. You've been missed. My first take profit has been hit, and I actually think iron ore is looking pretty good. If you look at iron ore futures here, we bring them up, TSR. Something you should do whenever you're thinking about a miner, go and look at the raw, guys. So many people don't do that. I don't know why. So why did I like BHP so much? We hit our trend line to the bottom. We got just underneath $100 a ton on the futures here. So you'll notice that that's a pretty big deal. And we probably expect a rebound. I mean, you don't just go from $220 a ton down to $100 a ton and don't see a rebound. I mean, this was a vertical shift down based on Evergrande. Come on, guys. It's an easy trade. And there's a couple of reasons. But the main reason is you think that China is not going to try to plug the hole. We've said it since the start. They were always going to try to plug the hole. It is not the time to allow a crash to occur. They're going to try to plug it. That's what they've done. And that's why we're looking at iron ore futures coming back, because, of course, they're a major purchaser of this particular raw material. Plus, the general world is just going to build. It always does. Economies always try to build out of problems. And that creates a debt hole that eventually will be a big issue, as we all know. But yeah, I still think that iron ore futures could get well back into the 160s. But first profit, no doubt, has been hit on many of these iron ore miners. Kevin says, man, be careful with natural gas. Oh, you've got to be careful with natural gas. And Deborah says, are you getting on the cam soon? Absolutely. We'll start that up next week for sure. All right, guys. Well, that probably brings us to the end of the stream for today. We've got some amazing stuff. Look at Bitcoin go. Look at it go. Get up there, Bitcoin. You nasty thing. Go down to the 46K. That's all we need. Just get over here. Wow, we need more, but get up here first. So it's good to see the crypto markets are recovering. Great accumulation bases there. I think we've been on as a community this year. We've pretty much found some great. I mean, it's been a good trading week, I would say. And that's the story of 2022. We don't always see such great opportunity, but remember, you've got gold 1830. You've got Bitcoin just going through right now, hopefully 46K next stop. Ethereum 3600, hopefully as a technical level. We have Sp500 at the long leg doji. So wait for the daily video and we'll check that out. And then everything else, whole bunch of sector changes. There's a lot of opportunity here. And while everyone thinks the market's overpriced, this, that, just remember all the crazy stocks that were really overpriced in 2021 have come well back down to earth. And one stock of those that we might even be looking at is, yes, my most hated stock, or second most hated stock other than space, which I have to talk about here. Zoom. Will Zoom return? I've always said this doesn't have big moat, but it's coming back down to a much fairer price. And it's another one that's got me even thinking about, let's find some TA on that a little bit later on. Let's look at SPCE. Were we correct in 2021 that this was an absolute dog? And it was. It was terrible. Look at it. $12.37. This is what I like to label as the key word of the day, which is trash. You might have a great concept. You might have the visionary ability. But remember, in the stock market, how long did it take for the internet, that is the internet, to actually become a really profitable business? Was it in the 1990s? Not really. Was it in the mid-2000s? Have a look at the Nasdaq. Did it happen after the smartphones came out? Absolutely. That was the beginning. Think about 3D printing, the run on that. Think about AI, the run on that in the mid-2000s. Anyone that's been trading for a long time would know. Marijuana stocks multiple years ago. Lithium into the Tesla craze, and then the idea that they were going to be good. Big boom, big crash. So just remember, space is going to be profitable at some point. Not this one, but some other stocks will make it happen. It's just not going to happen just yet. That's my opinion. You guys make your own decisions. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, and I appreciate all of your support on the channel. Let's get to 100K this year. 2022, it's the traders year, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to be a fantastic one. Bye for now.